just there because of the, what you don't understand. But I actually graduated from the Culinary Institute of America with high honors, top of the class. So if you pay attention, if you listen, if you have the gut and you want to do it, you can do it. So, so just like I said, back to cooking, let's start from the beginning. The beginning for me is you need tools. If you want to accomplish something or you want to do something, if you're a carpenter or if you're building houses, you gotta have tools. It's the same principle applies to the chefs or the cooks. So if you want to cook, you need tools. The most important tools you want to have are the knives. The knives are very important. You cannot cook without a knife. You can cook, but you need to prep. And preparing is the most important thing in cooking after the tools, because the tools will help you prepare. And once your food is prepared, which they call the mise en place, then you can start cooking. So it's a steps. So you need the tools. Once you have the tools it takes, then you need to learn how to cut. I'm going to show you that. Then you need to learn how to cook, and I'm going to show you that. And then you need to learn how to present your food. I'm going to show you that. I'm basically going to show you all the steps it takes. So we're going to start a series. We're probably going to go to 99 series. So let's start with the number one today. Is basically the knives. So knife has to fit in your hand very good. You got to feel good about it. If you don't feel good about it, it's means you got to change. You got to get a good grip, because safety, it's very important when you cut. You feel good about it. It's like driving a car. If you drive a car, you don't feel good about it, you're gonna have an accident. Of course, then you have other knives. You have like a paring knife, very important when you do little vegetables. It helps a lot. You have serrated knife. You get small and big one. This knife is a very interesting because it's serrated knife, but it's also a knife you can use for all kinds of stuff because it has a good grip, you get good feeling. And of course, you can have your a slicer. I don't have it here because it's been abused. Speaking of abuse, the knives cannot be used for something else. Somebody tried to use my knife to cut something, and then that's what happened. So that's garbage. So you gotta protect your knife because these are your tools. So, and then of course you need to have a sharpener. Usually use a stone. You can buy a stone very cheap and use it. But I just use this. If you take care of your knife, you really don't need the stone. You're just going to ruin them. The more you use them, the more you go. So what you want to do when you sharpen a knife, you want to go. If you do the stone, you want to go like this, like this, like this, in 30-degree angle, and then you gotta clean it up, or you can go like this against. And you will do it faster. So here is the blade. You got to start from here and see how you finish. You start from here. So all the time when you start cooking, it's good to give it a little quick. Okay, and then you can touch your knife. You can tell if it's not, doesn't feel like a razor blade. It's not sharp. A sharp knife is actually safe for you, very safe. Speaking of safety, it's also very important to use different cutting boards, like for vegetables, ready-to-eat foods, and the other you can have red for, like for instance, chicken and stuff like that. You know, perishable foods, because you definitely don't want to cut your chicken here. Take your chicken, clean up a little bit, and then start cutting your vegetable. You're gonna make somebody sick. Very important to have two cutting boards. Very, very important to also have your thermometers. Check the temperature of the food before you start cooking them, even cold or hot, because otherwise you're going to make your family sick. So cold food cold, hot food hot. You can go online anywhere and just check for food safety in your state, and everybody almost have the same food safety standards. Hot food's got to be above 41 degrees to 140. Cold food's got to be below 41 degrees. So safety is very important. And now the additional thing we have this year, it's the mask, because again, with COVID-19, you got to have a mask. So you gotta have your gloves, your mask, and make sure your sanitation stations, your sanitizer before you can even start cooking, doing anything. Okay, now that the safety is away, let's continue talking about what else we need. Now, I don't want you to get intimidated to look at all this stuff and say we must have all this stuff to be a cook. No, you don't have to have all this stuff. These are just recommended items. Like for instance, this little mandolin, it's a really good items to have because it's like a Chinese mandolin. You can slice very quickly with it. You can take something I'm going to show you later on, or a potato and put it. You can have chips or julienne vegetable by putting this insert. We'll go through that later on. So there's tools like you can have a chicken roasted already cut with this. You can, if somebody gives you a hard time, you can kick his butt. I'm just kidding. This is more like to make a chicken flat or some other meat flat. And then you have your knife, your cheese tools, your cheese knives. These are very good. Not only they cut the cheese, but also you can put them as a decoration when you have your cheese display. It's really cool. And of course you're gonna have your spatula. One of the most important thing about spatulas is this spatula here. It's called fish spatula, but you can use it for all kinds of stuff. It's really practical. Again, cooking is feeling good about cooking. Having a good grip. You gotta feel good about your tool. If you don't feel good about your tool, this is the other spatula. You gotta have a good grip about it. Rubber spatula, and of course you gotta have your tongs. Tongs is very important because the tongs are important. Why? First of all, you protect yourself. When the food is hot, you can grab it with your tongue. But also, it's safer. It's very safe to grab food with the tongs versus grabbing it with bare hands, or even with hands that have gloves, because you never know where you touched. So this is safer, and it's practical, and it's easier. So now you know mostly about the knives and the mise en place of the knives, the tools. So now let's talk about a little bit more safety. Now you're going to use the cutting boards to cut. One thing you got to be very careful is you got to remember the cutting board slides, and if it slides and you start cutting, then you can cause an accident. So it's very important that you put it in place by simply taking some paper towels, make them a little wet. Not too wet. So now these will be like a glue. They will hold together the cutting board. You see now the cutting board is stable, so you have a good working surface. Okay, we got our knives. So we're going to start with some kind of. But before we start with this, what I want to talk about is it's very important also to have towels in your kitchen. And make sure you have a garbage nearby, because you really want to work organized. You want to work safe, clean, organized, have everything ready to go. You don't want to keep going washing one by one. Whatever vegetable you're going to cut, have it done and ready to go. The other thing I want to talk about is the safety of your family. Like you cook in home or you cooking at work, you're holding a weapon in your hand. This weapon can hurt you or can hurt anybody. So imagine you're cutting something and suddenly you turn around. What it is, and somebody's behind you, you're gonna hurt that somebody. So you always want to make sure before you turn around, you turn your head, just like driving a car, then you turn around. The same thing, I'm driving the car, I want to go to the right line. What do I do? Turn my head so there is no dark spot, then turn around. Because what happened, the kid can be running around behind you, you turn around and you have an accident. Now, when you're standing here, you're cooking, the person coming behind you should also say, coming through behind you, so you're aware that someone is coming through. Very important in the kitchen, a lot of accidents happen like that. People rushing, you go around, you hurt somebody. Also, when you cut, it's very safe to use like a bear claw. A bear claw helps you save your fingers. So it's very important that you and you use rocking motion. And we're gonna go through that. And then next time we're gonna show you how to cut everything. We're gonna cut some different vegetable. We're gonna cut some meat. We're gonna do some real mise en place. I will see you next time. Back to cooking basic. Take care. I'll see you. This is Abdullah Agna, Executive Chef at Marriott, Waldemar Park Hotel. Thank you.